You and I have talked multiple times in the past about how Qatar's tentacles of influence are simply everywhere. Are you surprised, though, to see them reach Jerusalem?
I would love to see this outrage in Washington, D.C. I love that there are protests in Tel Aviv talking about Qatar's influence. And just to mirror what your guest said, uh, the influence inside of our White House, from Witkoff to Jared Kushner to Trump's kids, the Qataris spend about $250 million in Washington, D.C. on PR. They give $7 billion to the Muslim Brotherhood. They gave Hamas upwards of $1 billion. And they fund terrorism at the levels of billions, but they get off easy in the United States through economic investments, through PR investment, and they get this whataboutism that we see so much here in the United States. They give money to a conservative network here called Newsmax. They gave them $50 million, and now the organization cannot criticize Qatar. This is a problem. I love to see this attention in Tel Aviv. It's important, but it pales in comparison to the influence that they have in France, the influence they have in the UK, the influence they have in the United States. They've already bought the Democrat Party. To see this level of influence inside of the Trump administration is very concerning.
But I think what's different here, Michael, is that Qatar is an enemy state. Qatar funds, hosts, empowers Hamas. And for them to infiltrate the Prime Minister's office, that is something a bit more serious, isn't it? As far as the United States are concerned, Qatar is an ally. I mean, they are officially a non-NATO ally.
Absolutely. Qatar, we're trying to get Qatar designated as a state sponsor of terror here. But the argument is, well, they fund this base in Qatar. That base, we were not allowed to use that base to attack Iranian-backed militias in Iraq. We weren't able to use that base to attack Iraqi militias going into Syria and Jordan. We weren't able to use that base to defend Israel against Iran's ballistic missile attacks. That base is nothing but a leverage position for Qatar. It should be a leverage position for the United States, but we continue to see that. Qatar is an enemy state, and they simply buy influence with weak leadership inside of the Democrat and Republican parties here in the United States. And it is a big problem because it pales in comparison, once again, to what they spend on terrorism. I'm a veteran of the Afghan war and the Iraq war. Qatar funded al-Qaeda in Iraq, funded the Taliban and al-Qaeda in Afghanistan. They fund Hamas. October 7th probably wouldn't have happened without Qatar. And we see what they do with Iran. They work as a pass-through for everything that Iran is trying to do. And it's good that Israel has designated them as an enemy state. The United States needs to follow suit, but it's hard when you have Witkoff and the president pushing Bibi into these negotiations with Qatar. Qatar should have no role in this. And for them to go after Egypt and say that Egypt is a lesser partner in these negotiations, Egypt knows the threat of Hamas. Egypt knows the threat of the Muslim Brotherhood. Qatar funds the Muslim Brotherhood to a tune of $7 billion.